My next guest, as I just mentioned, is Senator Ben Cardin from Maryland. He serves as the chair of the Small Business and Entrepreneurship Committee. Senator, great to see you again. We've had similar discussion. Look, if I were to basically be honest and step back and say, let's take state of small business in America today, door number one, a lot of victims didn't make it through this time. They really dented where small business failure spiked up so high. Another door is our companies like we just heard about. They're sort of resilient. They're holding themselves together with Band-Aids and popsicle sticks and stretching and trying to figure out which way. Door number three are firms that have really thrived and boomed at this time. And I'm interested, as you look at this, you look at the policy dimensions of what we have to get right, how are you seeing small business in America? And what is it we now have to do given where we are?
Well, Steve, first of all, it's good to be with you. Second of all, listening to your previous guests, I'm very hungry for some Dallas barbecue. So it sounds
we got good barbecue in Baltimore, too.
To Texas Fair. It sounds like it's going to be incredible. Look, you're exactly right. COVID-19 has had a major impact on American small businesses. Make no mistake about it. Small businesses may be creative. They create jobs. And they are flexible on trying to stay afloat, but they don't have the deep pockets and resiliency of larger companies. And therefore, when you hit an economic downturn, they usually do not fare as well as larger companies. Now, we saw that before COVID-19, there were 3 doors every year of businesses that were not making it, that were just barely making it, and those that were doing well. What we did with the COVID-19 relief package was an unprecedented amount of federal government help for America's small businesses through the PPP programs, through the EIDL loan and advance programs, and now through the separate programs that we have for restaurants and for shuttered venues. So we have a menu of help for America's small businesses, and we're not finished yet. We still have to provide additional assistance, and we'll be talking about that. But our main focus has been on the underserved community. We know we have to do a better job, particularly access to capital, but also in opportunity for venture capital and innovation and creativity where it's difficult in minority communities and women-owned small businesses. And we have to deal with those businesses that have basically been ordered by government on COVID-19 to operate at much less than full capacity, in some cases completely closed. We really have to concentrate on these businesses to make sure they can get through this pandemic.
Yeah, Senator, let me ask you a question. I'm not sure I'm going to get it out right. I may even be wrong, but you helped co-author and you were the lead on the Paycheck Protection Program, PPP program, and you've introduced the PPP Extension Act of 2021. By every measure I can find, hugely popular, even oversubscribed. There may have been different layers of businesses that came in. Compare that to the eviction moratorium and the funds put in there, which has these vast amounts of funds that haven't been used or accessed. I hear about that also, like, don't end the eviction moratorium, but when you kind of look at the money and the use of it, something went off the rails because it wasn't used as much. What do you account for the disparity in terms of so much demand for what you authored with PPP? There is political demand for eviction moratorium, but you find so much money out there that has not been spent.
Well, Steve, you're exactly right. The demand is there. We know that there are a lot of stressed tenants. We know a lot of landlords are in desperate need of getting rent checks in order to meet their obligations. And the renter assistance program that we enacted allowed for payments to be made on behalf of the tenant that would benefit the landlord. So it was a win-win situation. It was allocated to state and local government. Most of the money went to local governments, and they were the ones that were responsible for the creation of the programs. There were existing programs, but they had to fill in the blanks. We've been told that the challenge in implementing the program is that they need the agreement of both the landlord and the tenant, and in many cases that's not easy to acquire. But there is really no justification as to why those funds are not being spent when the need is so great. We're
on the verge, I think, of some sort of deal. We'll see how this comes out of I won't even put a dollar price on it, but some form of big infrastructure program, some form of, tax and reconciliation package where after it's all, the sausage is made, there's going to be a lot of money hitting this economy. To what degree do you think small businesses are going to be, in a genuine way, really to participate? Or are we going to see I hate to call it the oligopolists in the system, the big players in the system, who are well wired, who are in there with the contracts, et cetera? I'm interested in whether small business is going to be welcome at the door for a lot of that money that's going to hit the economy.
I can tell you I'm fighting for our American small businesses. Now, the small business allocation directly in the program is $25 billion in the reconciliation budget. We have recommendations that will help principally the underserved community with partnerships with our HBCUs and minority servicing institutions to create incubators and accelerator programs, but an expansion of the SBIC program to help venture capitalists, to look at different ways that we can get access to capital, including direct loans by the SBA. So we are looking for direct programs that are going to help small businesses. But make no mistake about it, if we get a paid family and medical leave, but no additional cost burden to small business, that's going to be very helpful on the workforce issue for small businesses. If we get affordable childcare, which is one of the major deterrents for individuals entering the workforce, that will also help us with getting those workers we need down in Dallas in regards to our barbecue friends. These are all issues that we think will help on the workforce issue for small businesses. And then the bipartisan infrastructure package includes tremendous improvements in America's infrastructure. A significant amount of that business is going to go to America's small businesses. That's under our set-asides and under the provisions that were included in that legislation. So we do think that there is real economic opportunity for America's small businesses in both the bipartisan infrastructure bill as well as the Build Back Better budget.
Senator, I know, a secret about you, which I will share with the audience. It's not actually such a secret, and we're going to go to an audience question in a second. But you know as much about foreign affairs and national security as you do about small business. So that's the out of the closet thing I'm going to share with our audience. So with that, one of the things we've been looking at is this challenge right now where a lot of small businesses have gone online, and if they make things, maybe they want to sell them in a place like China. But we've got a lot of geopolitical tension with China. The economies are joined at the hip, but yet there's a kind of slow motion divorce going on as well, at one level, in many of the other geopolitical dimensions. I'd just be interested, because you know both sides of that brain. How do we manage our business equities? How do you talk about economic activity and exports? I just mentioned, one of the big Maryland exports to China are chicken feet. Who wants chicken feet? But, coming out of the chicken business. And I'm just interested in how you do that when at the same time we're clearly going to have a geopolitical struggle with China.
Well, you're right. I serve on not only the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, but the Senate Finance Committee. Both committees have jurisdiction over international trade. We met with the Director General of the World Trade Organization today, and I raised the issues concerning China. So absolutely, we believe that China is not playing by fair rules. They're trying to steal off intellectual properties, not just small businesses. Our companies are having a challenging time competing on an unlevel playing field with the way that China is conducting its commerce. So we passed legislation in the Senate to take that on. It's bipartisan legislation. We're not going to tolerate that. And I had a conversation this week with some of our European allies, and they're in agreement with us on this. We're going to have an overall strategy to deal with the competition coming from China. We don't mind fair competition, but you can't steal our intellectual property. You can't subsidize industries. You can't do what you're doing, intimidate other countries to do business with you under your rules. That's not going to be allowed.
And Ben, one last thing before I bring an audience question. One of the other big things for small businesses, people think of small businesses, 10 people, 100 people, 5 people. Sometimes it's 1 or 2 people in a household. And what we know is digital connectivity is so vital today. Where is Maryland? Where is the nation when it comes to actually getting a strategic leap in the number of households and people that are connected online?
It's a great question. First of all, in connectivity, we have provided substantial resources on broadband. As you know, it's also in the bipartisan infrastructure package. We believe every home has to have access to reliable, high-speed, affordable internet. We saw during COVID-19 and our students who were totally left out if they didn't have access to high-speed internet. So we are providing connectivity through many programs, direct programs through the Department of Agriculture, through the FEC. I could go through the FCC, through so many of our different agencies. We're providing direct help to expand the broadband. I thought you were leading also to the digital economy. In the CARES Act, we made it very clear that we had special provisions for the gig economy, for the mom and pop type businesses. We wanted to make sure that those individuals who work for these type of companies, they may not have W-2 income. We want to make sure that we're also qualified for help. And we did get help out to them. And this is now a permanent change in our toolbox. We're going to make sure that we're there for these innovative digital type small businesses that are really advancing our capacity in this new tech world.
That's cool, Senator. We have a question from the audience for you from Quentin Reed. Quentin?
My name is Quentin Reed, and I'm the Government Affairs Assistant with Small Business Majority, which is a national nonprofit organization engaging our network of more than 85,000 small business owners and more than 1,000 business and community organizations to help promote an equitable small business ecosystem. My question is, how can our organization become more effective at providing members of Congress or congressional committees with our data and small business owner testimonies? Thank you.
Senator?
Well, first of all, Quentin, you are very effective. You have testified, as you know, before our Small Business Committee. We get your material all the time. Our staff is very thankful for the information that you make available to us. So I first want to compliment you for the way that you have interacted with the Senate, with our committee and members of Congress to present a unified front on behalf of America's small businesses. Look, I think most people in this country respect and understand the importance of small businesses. It's where innovation takes place at a much higher level than larger companies. It's where we have more job growth than in larger companies. It is where we find creativity to deal with challenges, as we saw during COVID-19. So this is the backbone of the American economy. And I think the more that you can make that point, the more you'll see friendly policies. And friendly policies are not just these aid programs that we had to do during COVID-19. It's how we look at small businesses in our tax code, how we look at small business in our regulatory system. How do we look at small business in relationship to how we do government contracting and make sure that we do more with prime contracts for small businesses than just subcontracting? All of that is the sensitivity that I think your organization can help us understand and develop the right policies to move forward.
Well, Senator Cardin, thank you very much for your time. Chair of the Committee on Small Business and Entrepreneurship and so many other cool committees. And as you know, I have this place out in Chestertown, Maryland, and you have a standing invitation to come hang out. We can do some public education on small business policy. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, my pleasure. It's a wonderful place in Chestertown. Enjoy the Eastern Shore, enjoy our state, and I might stop by. Keep the door open.
Absolutely.